Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. This one is going to be all about you and uh, more specifically, your joints.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking all about how what you eat can actually impact your joint health.
Really fascinating stuff.
It is, and we're going to be looking at a guide to natural foods and supplements for joint health to get to the bottom of this.
Ah.
And I think one of the things that I'm most excited to talk about today is this idea that food can actually help lubricate your joints.
Yeah.
Wow.
We often think about what we should avoid,
Right.
but
Yeah.
there are a lot of things that you can actively add to your diet that can actually help improve that synovial fluid,
Yeah.
help everything move smoothly.
That's that slippery stuff in there.
Exactly.
So it's not just avoiding things that cause inflammation, it's also adding things that are going to help our joints stay healthy and do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, you can think about it as keeping that finely tuned machine running.
Okay.
And any good machine needs the right fuel and lubrication.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's get specific then. What are some of those lubricating foods that we can add to our diets?
So the first thing that comes to mind is fatty fish,
Okay.
salmon and mackerel sardines.
Love those.
They're not just delicious, they're packed with omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA, and these are really special types of fats. They have a molecular structure that actually helps reduce the production of those inflammatory chemicals in the body.
So it's not just some theory that people came up with. There's actual research to support this.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's actually a study in the journal Arthritis and Rheumatism that found that people with rheumatoid arthritis who took omega-3 supplements, they had a significant reduction in their joint pain and their stiffness.
That's huge. And so aiming for at least 2 servings a week of fatty fish is a great starting point.
See, and this is what I love about it. I love that we can look at food as medicine, but it also tastes good.
Yeah.
Having some grilled salmon or some sardines or something, that's not a sacrifice.
Right. It's not a chore.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's not just fish either.
Okay.
There's a whole world of plant-based foods that can also help you lubricate your joints and fight that inflammation.
Okay, well, let's talk about that then. What are some of those plant-based foods? I'm thinking berries.
Yes.
Because I feel like berries get a lot of good press. But what about them is so good for our joints?
So think of berries as tiny powerhouses of antioxidants.
Okay.
And specifically ones called anthocyanins. These give them their vibrant colors, but they're also working hard on a cellular level to actually combat inflammation.
So you're saying blueberries, strawberries, raspberries.
Yes, and those deep, rich colors.
Okay.
They're not just pretty to look at.
Yeah.
Studies have shown that the deeper the color of the berry, the higher the concentration of those anthocyanins, so the more potent the anti-inflammatory effects.
So I like how we're seeing kind of this two-pronged approach here. We've got the omega-3s from the fish, and then we've got these anthocyanins in the berries. And both are working together to reduce inflammation.
It's like having a team of specialists working to keep your joints healthy.
I like that. Okay, so we got fatty fish, we've got berries. What else should we be adding to our shopping cart here?
Leafy greens.
Okay.
Absolutely essential for joint health.
Okay, leafy greens like spinach, kale, collard greens.
All that good stuff.
I know they're good for us, but what is it about them that actually makes them so good for our joints?
So they're packed with nutrients that protect and strengthen your entire musculoskeletal system.
Right.
We're talking vitamin D for your cartilage health,
Okay.
antioxidants to help combat damage, and calcium to keep those bones strong.
I never really think about that. Healthy bones, strong bones help our joints.
Yeah, it's all connected.
Yeah.
So if your bones are weak, it makes your joints more susceptible to wear and tear.
Okay.
But if you have strong, healthy bones, it's going to help support those joints, and they're less likely to experience all that pain and inflammation.
So these leafy greens, they're kind of like a triple threat then.
Yeah.
They're fighting inflammation, they're protecting the cartilage, and they're strengthening the bones.
Exactly a must-have for anyone looking to support their joint health.
Okay, I'm thinking about my salads. Now I'm definitely going to be stepping up my leafy green game.
Yeah, small changes like that can make a big difference in the long run.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah.
Okay, now I want to talk about spices.
Okay.
Because, I love to cook, I love to use spices. So tell me about how some spices can actually help with our joint health.
You're in luck.
Okay.
Because certain spices have been used for centuries to treat joint pain,
Okay.
and modern science is starting to catch up.
Okay, I'm ready. What are we talking about?
Turmeric and ginger.
Okay.
These two have a long history in Ayurvedic and traditional Chinese medicine as natural remedies for joint pain and inflammation.
I'm especially interested in turmeric. I feel like that's one that we hear a lot about.
Yeah.
And I know it's good for inflammation, but tell me how it targets joint pain.
So turmeric contains a compound called curcumin.
Okay.
This is where the magic happens.
Yeah.
Curcumin has been shown to block specific inflammatory pathways in the body, particularly those involved in osteoarthritis.
So it's not just like a general anti-inflammatory. It's going after the specific pathways that lead to joint pain.
Exactly. And the best part is it's so versatile you can add it to curries, soups, smoothies, teas. The possibilities are endless.
You know what? I love turmeric tea with a little bit of honey and ginger in it.
Oh, that's lovely.
It's so good.
So soothing.
And ginger is another one that I feel like we hear a lot about too.
Absolute.
So what is it in ginger that makes it so good for our joints?
So ginger contains compounds called gingerols, and these also have really potent anti-inflammatory effects.
So this is like the dynamic duo then.
Yeah.
We've got the turmeric and the ginger working together.
They are a winning combination.
I like it. Okay, so we've covered turmeric and ginger. Is there anything else in this realm of spices that we should be aware of?
There is one more category of foods we can't forget about when it comes to joint health.
Okay, I'm all ears. What is it?
Nuts and seeds. They might be small, but they're packed with nutrients that are essential for healthy joints.
Okay, so we're talking walnuts, almonds, chia seeds, all that kind of stuff.
Exactly, and they're excellent sources of omega-3 fatty acids.
Okay.
Vitamin E, calcium, and zinc, all of which play a role in joint health.
I'm interested in hearing more about zinc. I know it's good for our immune system, but what about zinc makes it good for our joints?
So zinc is actually crucial for the healing and repair of connective tissue.
Okay.
So if you have any joint damage, getting enough zinc can help support that repair process.
It seems like it'd be really easy to add nuts and seeds into our diet too. You know, you can stack on them.
Absolutely.
You can add them to smoothies. You can add them to yogurt. You can put them on top of salads.
They're so versatile and nutrient dense.
I love that we're not talking about like deprivation and you can't eat this and you can't eat that. It's all about adding good things to our diet.
It can be enjoyable, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be restrictive.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
Right.
We talked about fatty fish berries, leafy greens, turmeric, and ginger nuts and seeds. It sounds like this is like a shopping list for happy joints.
That's a great way to put it.
So it sounds like incorporating these foods is pretty simple.
Yeah.
You know, it's just about making small changes here and there.
Exactly. You know, small changes can make a big difference.
That's what I like to hear. So it's not about changing our entire lifestyle overnight.
Yeah.
It's about slowly
Absolutely.
making these changes.
It's a journey, not a race.
Yeah.
Every step you take is a step in the right direction.
Well, this has been really, really insightful. I feel like I already know so much more about what to eat to keep my joints healthy.
I'm glad to hear that this is just the beginning.
Oh, good, because I'm ready for more.
There's so much more to explore when it comes to optimizing your joint health.
All right, well, stay tuned, listeners. We'll be right back with even more strategies to reduce inflammation and keep those joints moving smoothly. Okay, so we've been talking about all these wonderful foods to add, but I'm curious, are there any foods that we should be avoiding?
Oh, yeah.
Things that can actually make joint pain worse?
That's a great question. And while it's great to focus on the positive,
Right.
we can't ignore the fact that certain dietary choices can actually work against us.
Okay, so what are some of those dietary villains we should be watching out for?
Well, one of the biggest culprits is sugar.
Oh, boy.
It's a major trigger for inflammation throughout the body, and that includes your joints.
Okay, so we're talking like the usual suspects, candy, cookies, cakes, sugary drinks.
Exactly. And it's not just the obvious sources of sugar. You have to be mindful of hidden sugars in processed foods.
Right.
They can really add up.
So it sounds like reading labels is really key.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you might not realize how much sugar you're actually consuming.
Right. And speaking of processed foods, they're often loaded with unhealthy fats, additives, and preservatives, all of which can contribute to inflammation.
So it's not just about avoiding sugar. It's about being mindful of the quality of food that we're eating.
Exactly. Think whole unprocessed foods.
Okay.
As much as possible, fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, whole grains. Those are really the building blocks of a joint-friendly diet.
Okay, so we're looking for real food, not food-like products.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that. What about specific types of fats? I know we talked about the benefits of omega-3 fatty acids, but are there any that we should maybe be limiting?
Yes. There's one type of fat that can be problematic for joint health, and that's saturated fat.
Okay, saturated fat. So that's the kind that you find in red meat dairy products.
Yes. Now, I'm not saying these foods are off limits entirely.
Right.
They can certainly be part of a healthy diet in moderation.
Yeah.
But when we consume too much saturated fat, it can increase inflammation in the body, which can then exacerbate joint pain.
So it sounds like it's all about balance again.
Exactly. Moderation is key.
Okay, so we've talked about sugar-processed foods, saturated fat. What else should we be aware of when it comes to protecting our joints?
Well, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about lifestyle factors.
Okay.
We've been focused a lot on diet, but there are other things that can significantly impact joint health.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
What are we talking about here?
One of the most important is exercise.
Exercise.
Oh,
No, are you going to tell me I have to start running marathons?
not quite marathons, but regular movement is so important for maintaining those healthy joints.
Okay.
When we move our bodies, we're helping to lubricate the joints,
Yep.
strengthen the muscles that support them, and improve flexibility. It's all interconnected.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
But what about people who are already experiencing joint pain?
Right.
Should they be avoiding exercise to avoid further damage?
That's a common misconception.
Okay.
While it's important to listen to your body and avoid activities that cause pain, gentle exercise can actually be very beneficial for people with joint conditions like arthritis.
Really? So we're not talking high-impact stuff that's going to put a lot of stress on those joints?
No low-impact activities like swimming, cycling, walking, yoga.
Okay.
These are all excellent choices because they provide a great workout without putting too much strain on the joints.
I love that. So it's about finding activities that feel good and make us want to move our bodies.
Yeah,
And it's not about pushing ourselves to the limit.
absolutely. And remember, consistency is key.
Okay.
Even 15-20 minutes of gentle exercise each day can make a big difference.
So we've got diet and exercise. What other lifestyle factors come into play?
Another important one is stress management.
Stress? I'm curious about that one. How does stress actually affect our joints?
So when we're stressed, our bodies release hormones like cortisol.
Okay.
And cortisol is a major driver of inflammation. So chronic stress can actually contribute to your joint pain.
Wow, I had no idea that there was a connection between stress and joint health.
It makes sense when you think about it. Stress affects everything. And that's why finding healthy ways to manage stress is so important
Yeah.
for your overall health, including your joint health.
Okay, so what are some good ways to manage stress?
Well, there are so many options. Mindfulness practices like meditation yoga can be incredibly helpful. Spending time in nature, listening to music, reading a good book. These are all really simple but effective ways to de-stress and lower those cortisol levels.
So it's finding those little moments of peace throughout your day.
Absolutely. And don't underestimate the power of sleep.
Oh, sleep is my favorite.
When we're sleep deprived, our bodies actually produce more inflammatory chemicals, which can exacerbate that joint pain.
So getting enough sleep is actually good for our joints.
Absolutely. Sleep is when our bodies repair and rejuvenate, and that includes our joints.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so we talked about food, we've talked about exercise, we've talked about stress management and sleep.
It's all connected, isn't it?
Yeah, sounds like it.
Joint health is a holistic endeavor. It's about taking care of your body from the inside out.
So it sounds like even if we make small changes to our lifestyle, we can make a big difference.
It's not about perfection, it's about progress.
I like that.
Every step we take in the right direction matters.
Well, this has been really, really eye-opening. I feel like I have a much better understanding of how to support my joint health.
I'm glad to hear that. Remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
Yeah.
Keep learning, keep experimenting, and keep those joints happy.
All right, we'll be right back with even more insights into joint health. Stay tuned, listeners. We're back and ready to wrap up our deep dive on joint health. And, we've talked about food, we've talked about lifestyle changes, but is there anything else when it comes to optimizing our joint health?
Yeah, one area that I find really fascinating is the research on gut health
Gut health.
and joint health.
Okay, now this is a new one for me. I know we always say trust your gut, but how does what's going on in our gut affect our joints?
Yeah, it seems surprising, but the link is becoming more and more clear. Our gut is home to trillions of bacteria, both good and bad, and this community of microbes plays a big role in our overall health.
Okay, so gut health really refers to the balance of bacteria in our digestive system.
Exactly, and when that balance is disrupted, it can trigger inflammation throughout your whole body, including your joints.
And we've been talking about inflammation as one of the key factors in joint pain.
Mm-hmm.
So if an imbalance in our gut can lead to more inflammation, that could explain the connection.
Exactly. And this is where things get really interesting. Research is suggesting that probiotics, this beneficial bacteria found in fermented foods like yogurt and sauerkraut, can actually help reduce joint pain and inflammation.
So we're not just talking about avoiding things, we're also talking about adding good bacteria to our gut
Yeah.
through foods like yogurt and sauerkraut.
Yes, supporting that healthy balance of bacteria, which in turn can have a positive effect on your joints.
So it's like this ripple effect.
It is.
One thing affects another, and it all comes back to our overall health.
Absolutely. And speaking of interconnectedness, there's another link you might be surprised about.
Okay, what's that?
Hydration.
Hydration. You mean like drinking enough water?
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's important for our overall health, but
Mhm.
how does it specifically benefit our joints?
Well, water is essential for lubricating your joints and keeping the cartilage, the tendons, and ligaments healthy.
Okay,
Think of it like oil in a machine.
right.
When we're adequately hydrated, our joints can move more freely and smoothly.
Yeah.
But when we're dehydrated, those tissues can become dry and stiff, which can lead to discomfort and pain.
It's amazing how something as simple as water can have such a big impact on our joints.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that's so often overlooked.
Yeah, for sure.
So how much water should we be aiming for?
Well, I always hear 8 glasses a day, but
Well,
is that right for everybody?
it's a good starting point, but it can vary,
Got it,
depending
got it.
on your activity level, the climate, your overall health.
Right.
The best advice is to listen to your body and drink when you're thirsty. You can also look for signs of dehydration like fatigue, headache, dark urine.
Those are all good things to keep in mind because it's easy to forget to drink water.
It happens to all of us.
Yeah.
But making a conscious effort to stay hydrated is one of the simplest yet most effective things you can do for your joints.
This has been such a great conversation. We've covered so much.
We have.
We started off talking about specific foods
Mm-hmm.
that can reduce inflammation, lubricate our joints. We talked about exercise, stress management, gut health, and now even hydration. It's like a whole body approach.
It is, and that's what I hope listeners take away from this, that you have the power to really impact your joint health
Right.
through the choices you make every single day.
It's not about finding that quick fix. It's about making these changes that you can sustain
Yeah.
over time.
It's a journey,
It is a journey.
and it's one worth taking.
Well, listeners, we've reached the end of our deep dive into joint health. I hope you feel as inspired as I do to take charge of your joint health and just live a life full of movement and joy. And remember, if you're ever feeling lost or overwhelmed, reach out to a healthcare professional. They can help you figure out a plan that is best for you.
Absolutely, and remember, it's never too late to start prioritizing your joint health. Small changes can lead to big results.
What one change will you make this week to support your joints? Let us know in the comments and keep those joints happy and healthy.